Scope and leaning styles of thought. Scope thinking style. 1. Internal, independence and introversion. Individuals with an internal scope prefer tasks, projects, and situations that allow them to work independently of others. They are typically introverted and feel more comfortable working alone. They tend to avoid group settings and prefer to focus on their own thoughts and ideas. 2. External. Collaboration and extroversion. Those with an external scope thrive in tasks, projects, and situations that involve working with others. They enjoy collaboration and are typically extroverted, finding comfort and energy in group settings. These individuals prefer to engage with others throughout different stages of a project. Leaning thinking style. 1. Conservative. Adherence to tradition. Conservative thinkers have a preference for tasks, projects, and situations that require adherence to existing rules, procedures, and traditions. They like to minimize change and avoid ambiguity, favoring familiar and proven methods. 2. Liberal. Embracing change. Liberal thinkers are drawn to tasks, projects, and situations that involve unfamiliarity, innovation, and change. They are comfortable with ambiguity and often seek new challenges, sometimes preferring change for its own sake, even when it is not strictly necessary. Here are 10 multiple-choice questions designed for men and women aged 20 to 30, focusing on daily habits and conflict resolution, combining the scope and leaning thinking styles. Daily habits. 1. How do you typically plan your day? A. I prefer to work alone and stick to a familiar routine, internal, conservative. B. I enjoy collaborating with others and exploring new ways to approach my tasks, external, liberal. I like working independently, but occasionally try new methods to improve my efficiency. D. I follow established routines but prefer to work with a team, external, conservative. 2. When learning a new skill, what is your approach? A. I learn best on my own, following proven methods and guidelines. B. I enjoy learning in group settings and experimenting with different techniques. C. I prefer to study independently, but look for innovative approaches to mastering the skill. Internal. D. I like learning with others and rely on traditional methods to grasp new concepts. 3. How do you handle routine tasks at work? A. I prefer to complete them independently and stick to a set routine. B. I enjoy working with colleagues and am open to trying new approaches to make the tasks more interesting. External. C. I tackle them on my own, but occasionally try new ways to improve efficiency. D. I collaborate with others and follow a structured approach to get the tasks done. 4. When organizing your workspace, how do you proceed? A. I arrange it according to my personal preferences, focusing on tried and true setups. B. I like to keep my workspace dynamic, often rearranging it and involving others in the process. C. I set it up in a way that suits my needs, occasionally trying new layouts to see what works best. D. I set it up collaboratively with my colleagues, sticking to an organized and familiar arrangement. 5. How do you usually approach problem solving? A. I prefer to solve problems on my own, using methods that have worked in the past. B. I enjoy brainstorming with others and am always open to new and creative solutions. C. I like to think through problems independently but also enjoy exploring unconventional solutions. D. I prefer group discussions and rely on established methods to find a solution. External, conservative. Conflict resolution 6. When resolving a conflict with a friend, how do you usually proceed? A. I reflect on the situation alone, considering past experiences to guide my response, interrogative. B. I discuss the conflict openly with them, considering new ways to resolve the issue, external, liberal. C. I think it over by myself, sometimes coming up with innovative ways to address the problem. D. I prefer to address it directly with them, relying on traditional methods of resolution, external, conservative. 7. How do you approach a disagreement at work? A. I prefer to handle it on my own, using tried and true methods to resolve the issue, internal, conservative. B. I engage with my colleagues to brainstorm new and creative solutions together, C. I analyze the situation independently and sometimes experiment with unconventional solutions. Internal liberal. D. I work with my team to resolve the disagreement, sticking to established procedures. 8. When you and a partner have different opinions, how do you handle it? A. I take time to think about it alone, relying on past experiences to guide my response. B. I discuss it with them openly, considering new perspectives and ways to resolve the conflict. External liberal. C. I reflect on it privately, occasionally suggesting creative solutions to bridge our differences. D. I prefer to address it together using familiar methods that have worked for us in the past. Conservative. 9. How do you deal with unexpected changes in a relationship? A. I prefer to process the changes on my own, relying on what I've learned from past experiences. B. I talk it through with my partner, exploring new ways to adapt to the changes together. C. I take some time alone to think it through, sometimes coming up with creative ways to adapt. D. I address the changes directly with my partner, sticking to the methods that have worked before. 10. When faced with a group conflict, how do you contribute to the resolution? A. I prefer to think about it on my own first, applying proven strategies to suggest a solution. B. I engage actively in the group discussion, open to exploring new and innovative solutions. External liberal. C. I analyze the conflict independently and may suggest out-of-the-box solutions. D. I participate in the group's efforts to resolve the conflict, favoring traditional approaches. Here are 10 additional multiple-choice questions focused on handling relationships and conflict resolution, combining the scope and leaning thinking styles. Handling relationships. When a friend shares a problem with you, how do you respond? A. I prefer to give advice based on my own experiences, usually after thinking it over alone. Internal, conservative. B. I discuss it with them in detail, exploring new solutions together. External, liberal. C. I reflect on their problem privately and sometimes offer innovative solutions. Internal, liberal. D. I provide support by discussing the issue together, using familiar approaches that have worked in the past. 2. How do you handle disagreements in a group of friends? A. I prefer to think it over alone and then suggest solutions based on past experiences. B. I engage with the group to brainstorm new ways to resolve the disagreement. C. I analyze the situation privately and might propose unconventional solutions. Internal. D. I participate in the discussion, advocating for methods that have worked before. 3. When there's tension in a romantic relationship, how do you address it? A. I reflect on the issue alone, considering past experiences to guide my response. B. I discuss the issue openly with my partner, exploring new ways to improve our relationship. C. I think it over by myself, occasionally suggesting creative solutions to resolve the tension. D. I prefer to address it directly with my partner, relying on tried-and-true methods. 4. How do you maintain a healthy relationship with a partner? A. I focus on what has worked well in the past, often handling issues independently. B. I continuously explore new ways to strengthen our bond, often discussing ideas together. C. I think about our relationship privately, sometimes implementing new ideas to keep it strong. D. I work on maintaining our relationship through open communication, following familiar routines. 5. When a friend makes a decision you disagree with, how do you approach the conversation? A. I consider my thoughts privately and then share advice based on past experiences. Internal, conservative. B. I engage in a discussion with them, exploring new perspectives and solutions. External, liberal. C. I reflect on the situation alone, sometimes suggesting alternative ideas. D. I talk it through with them, using a straightforward approach that has worked before. External, conservative. 6. How do you approach resolving conflicts in your workplace? A. I prefer to handle conflicts independently, applying strategies that have worked in the past. B. I work with colleagues to brainstorm new and innovative solutions. C. I analyze the conflict on my own, sometimes coming up with creative ways to resolve it. Internal liberal. D. I prefer to resolve conflicts through team discussions using methods that are tried and tested. External. 7. When family conflicts arise, how do you contribute to the resolution? A. I think about the conflict privately, relying on past experiences to guide my response. B. I engage the family in open discussions, exploring new ways to resolve the conflict. External liberal. C. I analyze the situation alone, sometimes suggesting unique solutions. D. I participate in family discussions, advocating for traditional methods of resolution. Conservative. 8. How do you handle conflicts between friends? A. I prefer to think it through independently and suggest solutions based on past experiences. B. I facilitate a group discussion, encouraging everyone to explore new solutions together. C. I reflect on the conflict alone, occasionally proposing unconventional ideas to resolve it. Internal. D. I participate in resolving the conflict by promoting approaches that have worked before. External. Conservative. 9. When a disagreement escalates, how do you manage it? A. I prefer to withdraw and think about it alone, using past experiences to decide on the next steps. Internal. Conservative. B. I engage the other person in an open discussion, exploring new ways to de-escalate the situation. C. I reflect on the situation privately and might suggest innovative ways to calm things down. D. I address it directly with the person involved, using familiar strategies to de-escalate. External. Conservative. 10. When resolving a conflict that involves multiple people, how do you proceed? A. I think about each person's perspective privately, then suggest solutions based on what has worked before. B. I facilitate a group discussion, encouraging everyone to consider new ideas for resolution. C. I analyze the situation on my own, sometimes proposing unique solutions to address everyone's concerns. D. I participate in the group discussion, promoting traditional methods to find a resolution. Here are 10 additional multiple-choice questions focused on emotional connectivity and career choices, combining the scope and leaning thinking styles. Emotional connectivity. 1. How do you express your emotions to someone close to you? A. I prefer to reflect on my feelings privately and then express them in a traditional way. Internal. Conservative. B. I openly share my emotions and explore new ways to connect with them. External. Liberal. C. I think about my feelings on my own, sometimes expressing them in unique ways. D. I express my emotions directly, relying on familiar gestures and words. 2. When comforting a loved one, how do you approach it? A. I prefer to think it over and provide comfort using methods that have worked before. B. I actively engage with them, exploring new ways to offer support and comfort. C. I reflect on how to comfort them, sometimes coming up with creative ways to help. D. I provide comfort through direct interaction using familiar and reliable methods. External. 3. How do you maintain emotional closeness with your partner? A. I focus on what has always worked for us, often reflecting on it privately. B. I actively seek new ways to deepen our connection and share these ideas with them. C. I think about our relationship on my own, occasionally trying new ways to stay connected. D. I maintain our connection through regular, familiar activities and open communication. 4. When you feel disconnected from a friend, how do you reconnect? A. I prefer to think about the situation alone and then reach out in a way that has worked before. B. I openly discuss the disconnection and look for new ways to strengthen our bond. C. I reflect on how to reconnect, sometimes using creative methods to do so. D. I address the issue directly with them, using familiar approaches to restore the connection. 5. How do you handle emotions in a challenging conversation? A. I process my emotions privately, relying on past experiences to guide my responses. B. I openly express my feelings, exploring new ways to communicate effectively. C. I think through my emotions on my own, sometimes finding innovative ways to convey them. D. I express my emotions clearly, using well-established methods of communication. Career choices. 6. When deciding on a career path, what is your main approach? I think about it on my own, focusing on paths that align with my established interests. Internal, conservative. B. I explore various career options with others, considering new and exciting possibilities. External. C. I reflect on different career paths privately, sometimes considering unconventional options. D. I discuss career choices with trusted people, relying on tried and true advice. External, conservative. How do you approach career advancement? A. I prefer to work independently, focusing on traditional paths for growth. Internal. B. I actively seek out new opportunities for advancement, often collaborating with others. C. I think about my career trajectory on my own, sometimes pursuing innovative ways to advance. D. I advance my career through teamwork, relying on established methods and advice. 8. When faced with a major career decision, how do you proceed? A. I reflect on it independently, choosing a path that aligns with my past experiences. Internal, conservative. B. I discuss it with colleagues or mentors, exploring new opportunities and perspectives. External, liberal. C. I consider the decision on my own, occasionally opting for a less traditional path. D. I consult with others, relying on proven strategies and advice to make my decision. External, conservative. 9. How do you handle setbacks in your career? A. I prefer to process setbacks privately, using strategies that have worked for me before. B. I talk it over with others, exploring new ways to overcome the challenges. C. I think about the setback on my own, sometimes finding creative ways to bounce back. D. I seek advice from trusted colleagues, applying familiar methods to recover. External, conservative. 10. How do you plan for long-term career success? A. I focus on my goals independently, following a traditional path to success. B. I collaborate with others to explore new strategies for achieving long-term success. C. I plan my career path on my own, sometimes incorporating unconventional ideas. D. I work with mentors and colleagues, relying on established strategies for success. External, conservative.